Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Chef Jacques Cooks. This morning we're going to make good morning pancakes. We're going to be using gold medal, all-purpose organic flour. We're going to be using turbinado sugar, organic. We're going to be using buttermilk. These are buttermilk pancakes, going to be delicious. We're going to be using some vanilla bean extract, and we're going to put an egg in our pancakes as well, and we're going to be using Anderson's pure maple syrup. So let's begin. Everybody's hungry. Alrighty, let's get this started. So we've got 1 cup of our flour here. We're going to put in a tablespoon of our sugar, and you'll notice this sugar is kind of large granules, and that's going to be nice because when that cooks, those are going to be in the pancakes rather than emulsified with everything. It'll actually kind of be a little bit of a surprise inside when you go and bite into it. We're going to put in a teaspoon of baking powder. Let's put that in there. We're going to put in a half a teaspoon of baking soda, and those are level spoonfuls. We're going to put in just a dash of salt, not too much, just a little sprinkle there. And then we're going to mix this. We just want to kind of get that all mixed together there. So you see those granules, they're not blending in, and so they won't blend in, but when we cook, you'll find they'll make a nice little surprise in your mouth. Now we're going to take our liquid ingredients and mix them. So we've got 1 egg, we've got 1 cup of buttermilk. Let's get those shells out of there. We don't want to have any shells in there. This is my crooked bowl here. It looks like the person who made that was maybe had a few too many drinks when they were making that bowl. So we're going to take 1 cup of buttermilk and mix that in there. And this is a very nice buttermilk. It's nice and thick and heavy. This is by Shamrock Foods. And we're going to put in our vanilla as well. And that's a half a teaspoon of vanilla. And now we're going to mix that lightly. So we don't have to beat this a whole lot, but we just want to mix everything up. The vanilla extract has alcohol in it. And alcohol, when you mix it with, for instance, eggs, it begins to have like a cooking effect on them. So here we've got this all mixed up nicely. And when you use a nice quality buttermilk, it's rather thick. If you're using less expensive buttermilk, usually it'll be a little bit watery from that. Either one will be just fine. So now what we want to do is combine these together. And we don't want to over mix this. It's okay if it has a few lumps in it. And let's get this all in here. And you have to, when you're making food, you have to kind of understand that you get a feel for what you're doing and how you're doing it. And if something isn't quite right, you might need to make a small change to your recipe, and you might have to do that on the fly. So as we look at this, this is more the texture of biscuits than it is of pancakes. So we're going to add just a little bit of water. So we've got about 1/8 of a cup of water there. And if we were using a thinner buttermilk, we probably wouldn't need to add any water at all. So we just stir this up. Let's see how that is. Still a little bit too thick. Let's add the other 1/8 of a cup. So we've added a total of 1/4 of a cup of water. So we don't want to beat this. Notice we're not beating it, we're just kind of blending it. Because what we don't want to have happen is that we activate the gluten and our pancakes become like bread. They become like stretchy. Maybe just a tad more water. So what we've done is we've added a total of 1/2 cup of water to this recipe. And again, if you were using a thinner buttermilk, you wouldn't need to do that. So that's a very nice texture. All right, we're going to let this set for a minute, and we're going to get our griddle ready to make our pancakes. All right, we've got our skillet here ready to go. We're going to put some butter in the bottom of the pan. I like using Challenge butter for this purpose. It's a nice, very high quality butter. We're just going to put some in our pan, and then we're going to put our pancakes in there. So it feels like it's about the right heat. We're going to have to make sure. So we'll just put our butter in there. Looks like it's not quite hot enough based on how slowly the butter is melting in there. So we're going to turn our heat up just a bit. And so we want it to get a little bit warmer. As it gets a little bit warmer, we're looking at our butter. Our butter here is still white. It hasn't browned or anything like that, so we know our pan isn't hot enough to brown our butter. It's still cool enough where I can touch it with my hand, but it's kind of warm. I can't hold it for too long there. This is an induction stove, and it works in much the same way as a gas stove works. When you turn the heat on, it's on, and when you turn the heat off, it is absolutely off. So what we want to do is we're going to put a couple of pancakes in here, and we're going to wait until they bubble. And when they bubble, then we'll turn them over and cook them on the other side. So if you can see here, the butter is starting to turn a little bit brown there, which means that our pan is getting just about hot enough. So let's give this a try. We'll put a pancake in there and see how it turns out. Well, that looks pretty good. Let's try another. And another. So you'll notice here in the batter, you can see this is the sugar, these little brown spots, and you'll see it in the batter here as well. And so that's going to be a very nice surprise to your palate when you go to eat these. So we're waiting for these bubbles to come up, and that's going to be an indication that they're cooked on the bottom and then they're ready to flip over. So we'll just have a peek here. Yep, that's doing fine. So we've got our bubbles there. Let's take a flip over. That looks pretty good. This area seems to be a little warmer in the pan. We've got our bubbles there. Let's flip that. Yeah, that's fine. And this one's taking just a little bit longer, so that area of the pan might not be quite as hot. So you'll notice how they've risen here, and they're fluffing up very nicely. These are going to be very nice, fluffy pancakes. All right, let's see how that one's doing. Yep, we're doing fine there as well. So notice they don't stick. This is one of the reasons why I like cast iron. Very good for even cooking, and even heat distribution. Oh, let's have a little taste. Oh yeah, this is going to be a hit. They're very light and fluffy. We made some crisp bacon earlier. Look at that. And what's not to love about those? Isn't that beautiful? We'll put some butter on that and some hot syrup. This one should be ready by now. Isn't that beautiful? Everyone's going to be so happy this morning. You're going to get everybody off to school. They're going to be doing well in school with his good breakfast. Fresh maple syrup. What could be better? This is Chef Jacques with Good Morning Pancakes. Thanks for watching. Bon appetit. We'll see you next time.